Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Your activism needs to be about keeping these commandments.
This is not what I expected out of them. The true Bible, the book of our fathers.
Right. The Most High has given us guidance on what we need to do.
It's Officer Eli. It's Officer Nahshon. Officer Yikiel.
All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. We are back, brothers and sisters. We are back. Let's pick up with Ezekiel 37 and the second verse again.
Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 2. And caused me to pass by them round about.
The prophet Ezekiel. Go ahead.
And behold, there were very many in the open valley.
There were very many of the Israelites, the dead Israelites, meaning mentally dead, and because they are lost because we've been lied to and we broke God's laws. Go ahead.
And lo, they were very dry.
And they were very dry because they were dry of the water of the Bible. Our people have been completely tricked to believe anything except the Bible. Okay? They've tried to shunt us into Islam, shunt us into being Africans, shunt us into being Baptists, everything else. But when you say you're an Israelite, then the powers that be is coming down on you hard. It's something that should tell you alone right there. It must be something about us recognizing that we're the Israelites. It's a big thing. Big thing. Now, give me Isaiah 5, 13 and 14. I need those two verses.
Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 13. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity.
This is the reason why our people are very dry. Go ahead.
Because they have no knowledge.
And the people have no knowledge, because the Bible says that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Go ahead.
And their honorable men are famished.
And the preachers don't know the Bible either because they have not learned the Bible. Go ahead.
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
So the people are trying to feed at the preacher's mouth. The preacher ain't giving them the scriptures say, for the priest's lips shall keep What it says, the priest's lips shall keep knowledge, and they shall seek the law at the preacher's mouth. So being that he ain't giving it to them, they're going to remain dried up with thirst. It's going to tell you. Read. And go ahead.
Verse 14.
Read 13 again.
Verse 13. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
They don't have the laws. They don't have the laws and the knowledge of God. Go ahead.
And their honorable men are famished.
And their honorable men are famished. They're empty because they don't teach the Bible. They don't know the Bible.
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
That's the part I wanted. And their multitude, meaning the people, are dried up with thirst because they're looking to be fed by the preacher. And the preacher ain't giving them up because he's dried up. Go ahead.
Therefore,
because of that, because of the Israelites don't have any knowledge and they haven't learned these things. Listen what the scriptures say. Therefore what?
Therefore, hell have enlarged herself.
Because of us not having any knowledge and we're not learning the laws of God, hell has gotten worse. So we are in hell. The so-called white man is in heaven, so you're going to understand. He's in his heaven. He's in his rulership. That's what heaven is. The scriptures is telling you plain that we are in captivity. Captivity is hell. That's what that's explaining right there. Read it again.
Therefore, hell have enlarged herself.
Therefore, hell has enlarged herself. So you can understand clearly. When you read the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? That's talking about the so-called white man. He's the Lucifer that the Bible speaks of. He's the one that's saying that he's a star of justice. The word Lucifer means light bearer. He's trying to say that he's a star of wisdom. He's a star of teaching the truth. He's a star of intelligence and all of that, and greatness. That's what he's trying to say. He's the illuminated ones. That's what he's saying. He said that the Bible says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? The white man dropped bombs on the nations, and he weakened them with his policies, with his philosophies, and they all in captivity up underneath him, which is Babylon the Great mainly. That's the Lucifer that it's talking about. So he's in his heaven, but he's getting ready to get cast out of his heaven. And the Israelites are in hell, and they're getting ready to come out of hell into their kingdom. Thy kingdom come. That's what it's talking about.
That's right.
Read.
Therefore, hell have enlarged herself.
Therefore, hell has gotten worse. It has enlarged herself. Go ahead.
And opened her mouth without measure.
And it seems like our situation is so horrible now, and you trying to focus me, you trying to take my mind and look at some so-called 6 million people. You got to be kidding. Our hell is worse than anybody's hell. The Bible is telling us that clearly, and we're going ready to get into the information that's going to show you just how bad our people are. Okay? So is that it on that? That's it on that, right? Okay.
In their glory, in their multitude, in their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it.
So the Israelites are catching complete hell. That's what it's talking about there. Okay, go to Revelation 11 and 11.
Revelations chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3 days and a half.
This is what was talking about in Ezekiel 37 and the 10th verse. Read.
The spirit of life from God had entered into them.
The laws of the Most High have entered into them because the preachers are actually bringing them the real water of the scriptures and wetting the bones and causing the bones to wake up. Read.
And they stood upon their feet. And
go ahead. Go ahead.
And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Now go back to Ezekiel, saying the same thing. Ezekiel 37 and 10, saying the same thing.
Chapter 37 and verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
So that's the Israelites coming out of captivity, coming out of the captive lies in our mind. That's how we're going to have the mental, spiritual resurrection first. Then the Most High is going to physically resurrect us when he dropped bombs on this place that the Most High is going to bring. He's bringing the weapons that he caused the smiths around the world to build. God is going to bring the destruction, and he's going to take us out of here when he's destroying our enemies. Okay, that's what the nations are afraid of. They done built the doggone weapons. Now they're trying to get rid of them. How in the world you going to get? The Most High said, no, you're going to press the button. No, I ain't going to press the button. You're going to press the button. You're going to press it. The Lord called you to build it. You ain't want to build it. The Most High going to call you to build more of them. And he's going to make you press the button. And then the angels are coming in to take us out of this. Okay, go ahead, brothers. Y'all want to bring something out?
Let me get Revelation 2 and 9. And 3 and 9.
Mm-hmm. Revelations chapter 2 and verse 9. Verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
So Christ is speaking to the real Israelites, not the bastards in the Ashdod. Read on.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
So the blasphemy is the wicked lies of those who say they are Jews.
And are not.
But who are they?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
Because everything that perpetuate on earth is wickedness. Homosexuality. Homosexuality. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sodomy, promiscuity, all that madness is going on.
Ain't nothing but evil that they perpetuate on earth. Give me 3 and 9.
Revelations chapter 3 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan.
So I will make the so-called Jews, Amalek, or the Jewish people, the so-called Jewish people, the so-called Jews,
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews.
Because they're the only ones walking around saying they are Jews. They're the only ones who in these last days that say they are Jews. We don't say we are Jews, but we are proclaiming it. But who can go and fill out an application and it's listed on there? They can check Jew. Read on.
And are not.
But Christ said they are not. But who?
But do lie.
So they are lying. Read on.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
So in these last days, you can see it's starting to happen. You can see them starting to scramble because we are proclaiming our true nationality.
Read that verse again. Did you leave something out?
Read it again.
Verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Okay. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
You got it.
You want something on that, D?
No, that was it. I thought he left something out, but he got it right.
No, I mean, that's an excellent scripture. It's funny. John wrote this. John wrote, read it again, officer.
Revelations chapter 3 and verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews.
You said it before. We're not the ones saying that we're Jewish.
Right.
We're not claiming that. For so long, we've been called black African American. We don't know what we are. But now when we say, well, you know what? We are Israelites. We don't necessarily know possibly what tribe we're from.
Right.
Because that word Jew, it holds value of 3 tribes at one point, and then it holds value of 1 tribe. Mm-hmm. We're not saying that. They're saying that. Go ahead.
And are not.
And the God said that, but they are not the Jews. Go ahead.
But do lie.
And they do what they always do, which is lie.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
The thing, Deke, that stands out the most is, why is it the burden of proof should be on them to prove that you're a Jew?
Right.
Not on us. We can prove that we're Israelites. You still haven't proven that you're a Jew.
And nobody speaks on it.
Right.
Nobody hold them to the fire about who you prove that you a Jew.
Well, you know what's funny about that is because you're making a good point, but because you're saying that nobody's really challenging them.
I mean, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go a step further. They're being challenged. The only thing it is that they're not giving them the microphones.
Right.
So you may think that it ain't causing an uproar. The word of the Most High does not go out void. When this word go out, it's causing quite a stir, big stir. But they're trying to hush it up. You know what? You done made me think about something. You done said about hushing it up. Y'all got something else? Go ahead. Huh?
I was going to say, you know what's funny? If T.D. Jakes would just speak the truth, our people will realize that who this Bible is talking about.
Right.
If he would do Malachi 2 and 7, and the priest's lips the people should seek knowledge from him, the people will bethink themselves.
Exactly.
Like it says in 1 Kings 8 and 46. We will remember who we are, and these lies wouldn't be able to be ran over us.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, that's what I got.
Right. Exactly. And it's heavy that you said that too, because it's no mystery. The people know that the Israelites are black people. They should know that.
Right.
Moses passed for an Egyptian. The Egyptians come out of Ham. Right. So the Egyptians and the Israelites look the same. They're black. So how in the world are they going to be white and turning back to Israel?
Right.
Meanwhile, we're the ones that's fitting the prophecies of the Bible, but we ain't the Israelites. Ain't that something?
Right.
Wow. And you know what else I noticed too? Hey, I'm gonna jump to something. I'm gonna read Deuteronomy 28, but I'm gonna get. You know what? Read that, but put my picture up there about that book. There's a book called The Biblical Black Jews. It's a white book with blue writing on it. The Biblical Black Jews. Read Deuteronomy 28:68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. Mm-hmm. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
The Most High, through Moses said that the Israelites, for breaking God's laws, will go into captivity. That's what Egypt is. When you read the Exodus chapter 20, verse 2, it says, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So that's when the Israelites was brought out of Egypt, which is the second book of the Bible. Then in the 5th book of the Bible, Moses says, for your disobedience, you're going back into Egypt again, but this time you're going on ships. Now that's crystal clear, easy to understand. The so-called white man, with his being the demon, like he is, going to get inside the Negroes' minds and try to turn the whole verse around. I'm going to show you how evil they are as we read this verse, because that verse clearly is the reason why a lot of us woke up. So they're trying to distort that verse. They don't want that verse to get out completely. They're trying to mess it up. When you read the so-called NIV, the new international version,
New ignorant
version, that's the name of it, really should be. They completely made a mess out of the scripture. Now, read Deuteronomy 28:68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68.
Let me explain it now. Watch this.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
The way that it was said that it would happen was exactly how Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, records it. It talks about the yokes of iron that will be put around our necks. It talks about our children being separated from us. All of that is written in there. It says that we should be the tail and they should be the head. They said that our children will be taken away from us and sold into captivity, and we will have no power to get them back.
And they ain't went through none
of that. None of that. And that's what Moses means by that statement there. Read that statement again. Oftentimes we leave that part out. Read that statement again, that part of it. By the way
whereof I spake unto thee.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, meaning the way it's recorded in the Bible. The slave trade is written right there in the 28th chapter. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
Thou shalt see your homeland no more again. Mentally, spiritually, we won't even recognize that that's our homeland. Go ahead.
And there
in this Egypt where you're going to be brought to,
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Stop right there. The Bible said that you shall be sold unto your enemies. In order to be sold, there had to be a seller. And in order for you to be sold, there had to be a buyer that bought you. In order for you to be sold. That's past tense. That's the past tense of selling. When you are sold, that means the transaction is done. So now put that garbage up there, that the NIV. Let me just find that real quick. Bear with me, brothers. I'm going to show you how evil these preachers are. The NIV, I keep calling it King James. It ain't King James. NIV 28:68. NIV 28:68. I'm going to show you how evil these people are. And we should bang these wicked people in the head every time we see them with this lie that they put in that doggone thing they call a Bible. Read. Watch this. Read that up there.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68 in the NIV. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey. I said you should never make again.
This doesn't even make any sense, but they're trying to do this to throw you off. Go ahead, watch.
There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you.
Now, in this thing, they said that you shall offer yourselves for sale. This doesn't make any sense at all. What slave will offer himself to be sold? That's the evil behind these people. That's the evil behind these preachers sitting up there co-signing on this garbage. It said that you shall offer yourselves
for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves.
That sounds like more like an indentured servant or something.
That's BS. That ain't the Bible. Go ahead.
But no one will buy you.
But no one will. Please buy me. Please. No, we don't want to buy you. But please buy me. Please buy me.
You should offer yourselves.
That's stupid as hell. For any of you so-called Negroes to be following that stupidity, I don't know what to say about you. Your brain is up the behind of a giraffe. I can't understand how you can even go along with this BS.
That's because they really don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe.
This makes no sense at all. Now give me King James. Let's clear this thing up with this evil that's going on. Show you the difference. Talking about something, no one will buy you. That ain't what the Bible says. And you know what's funny? I had a picture. I'm going to show you that the so-called Jews in their Tanakh, so you can understand. They got the Tanakh. They got the, when you can, I don't want to go into this, but I'm going to say it. Let me send a picture. Say something real quick. It's time to blast these people to hell.
Also, get real quick numbers.
Just to stay with, yeah, go ahead. I'm going to send y'all the picture, brother. Just lean back. I think I sent it to y'all before, but y'all, I'm going to look it so y'all don't have to go back so far.
Get Numbers 12 real quick. Because when Moses prophesied that in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, there was something that God said that he would do with Moses that he wouldn't do with anybody else.
What verse you want, officer?
8.
Numbers chapter 12 and verse 8.
Start at 7.
Verse 7. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches.
So it's not a dark speech when Moses is bringing out Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Mm-mm. It's very plain. Go ahead.
In the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?
So the purpose in me bringing that scripture out, Deke, is Moses talked to the Most High dealt with Moses plain. You know, other prophets you kind of got to go precept upon precept.
Right. He made it super plain for Moses.
So when Deuteronomy 28, when it says you would go into slavery on ships, that's plain. Moses made it. He said it exactly how God told him to write it.
Right. Exactly.
There's no mistaking about it. And it's baffling that T.D. Jakes and them, they go to these cemetery schools for 4 years,
right?
Get a doctorate, and still read the NIV version,
right?
And take to it, and then sell it to the people like it's the gospel.
Exactly, and they know better. I'm gonna prove that. Put the pictures up. Give me the front of the book first. I want y'all to see this here, right there. Give me that first picture first. Show that. This right here is known as the Tanakh. Okay, that's the front of the book. It's got what they're known as square Hebrew writing on it. Okay, you see they got the Magen David on there, but never mind all of that. Oh, now go to the next page. I'm gonna open it up. Go to the next picture. Go to the next picture. The second picture that I sent you, the very next one, right there. Zoom in on that. That's Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. So me and Bishop used to, when we was in the old school, on the Sabbath, we used to read the so-called Hebrew, like you see, and then the other side was English. So that's what he was talking about. So as you see, they got the verse there. Okay? And the Lord, read it right off the screen. That's in the book. So when they come up with this new NIV garbage, that's letting you know that it's pure out of their ass. That's where it came from. It ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. I got to say it straight up. That came out of their behind. That's not scripture.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Brothers and sisters, y'all can see it on the screen. So when we reading out of the King James Bible, it's reading it exactly how you see it here.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
And there ye shall be sold. So that's past tense. You're not in the process of being sold. In the process of selling, you've already been sold. And there ye shall be sold. So if you're sold, that means the selling is over. That means there was a buyer and a seller, and we were the property. Read that again. And there
ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
So with that understanding right there, you should know that somebody bought us. We were bought. We were purchased. So what's the next part saying?
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall redeem you. That's what the buy means there. That's an old Quaker English word which means redeem or save. And no man shall save you. Now jump to the 29th verse because that's what it's talking about there. Deuteronomy 28 and 29. So you can understand that the word save is actually the word there, meaning the same thing as buy you. So when them demons put that in there and try to say we will offer ourselves, that's a bunch of BS. But it's designed for the slow minds that don't know the Bible because the preachers made them slow. That's the reason why the people don't know. But thank God and the grace of the Most High and His Son Christ, He's causing you brothers and sisters right now to get your mind out of the behind of white supremacy, because that's what you're really learning. This whole thing that T.D. Jakes and these preachers are pushing is white supremacy. How in the world are you going to take a group of so-called white people and make them the Jews? And the Bible is not talking about them. You're the Jews. You're the lost sheep. You're the dry bones. You're the people about whom the Bible is speaking of that's going to wake up in the last days. That's what Malcolm said. He even figured that out. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness.
That's the Israelites in the valley of death and being dried up with thirst. That's what it's talking about. We groping around like we don't know what the hell's going on. That don't fit these so-called Jews. That's us. Go ahead.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
And whoa. And thou shalt not prosper. We shall not prosper. We got millions of dollars worth of talent. And we don't have one toilet paper factory to wipe our own behind. That's what the scriptures are talking about. All of the wealth that they've made off of us, we can't use none of it to benefit us. Thou shalt not prosper. We're the richest people on the planet, but we're at the absolute bottom because of that curse, because of our no good preachers lying to us and not waking up the tribes of Israel. Read.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
That's the Israelites, brothers and sisters. That's us. Moses is calling you. Christ is calling you. The Most High is calling you. The hell with these lies. Come on.
And no man shall save thee.
And no man shall save thee. And no man shall buy thee. No man shall redeem thee. That's what Deuteronomy 28:68 was talking about. And it's crystal clear because if you read the rest of the verse, it told you that we were sold. So if we were sold, we were bought. You can't have a seller without a buyer. You can't be sold without a buyer. So we were sold, past tense of sell. So we were bought. So when the Bible said that no man shall buy you, no man shall redeem you, no man shall save you, that's what it was talking about. That's easy to understand. Now,
I just wanted to read verse 30, D.
Yeah, go ahead, hit it. I'm about to hit him with some stuff after this. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
So I don't remember them doing that in the concentration camps.
No.
I didn't see that in the Diary of Anne Frank. I didn't see that in Schindler's List either.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
All that's servitude. But they cannot record that in their history.
No.
They ain't build no houses.
They ain't do nothing. They
plant
did
no
nothing.
vineyards.
They don't fit this. They do not fit this.
Go ahead, D.
Now, give me Jeremiah 50 and 33. And then, brothers, get ready for my Professor Scobie. I'm about to drop it on him now. Professor Scobie. Now, I'm going to explain about Professor Scobie because a lot of people say, what the hell is he talking about now? I'm going to explain all that.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33.
Now, I'm jumping the gun a little bit because I want to bring this part out before this particular episode ends because next week I got more stuff that I'm going to bring out. But I want to give you some good stuff today to keep your lips wet
Right.
for
So
the
you're
next
not dry.
so you ain't dry for next week come. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel.
The children of Israel is talking about northern kingdom. Okay, we're going to prove all of that out. Northern kingdom. Read it again.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel.
The children of Israel, which is northern kingdom, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Simeon. Those are the Israelites. Northern kingdom. Go ahead.
And the children of Judah.
And the children of Judah is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, known as the southern kingdom. Okay. Go ahead.
Were oppressed together.
Were oppressed in the valley of the shadow of death, where the dry bones are, the Israelites. That's what it's talking about. Were oppressed together. That's what we just read out of Deuteronomy. It said that you shall be oppressed always. So the objective in our being oppressed is to make sure that we stay oppressed. So they don't want this information to come out. Now I got to drop the information on them. I've been holding this doggone thing since 1988, brothers. Mm. I was listening to the radio. I'm going to set it up. I was listening. I'm from, a lot of people know I'm from New York. I was listening to WLIB. Most people that's in New York, you New Yorkers, you know what I'm talking about. If you was around during that time, you used to have what was known as the GBE, the Global Black Experience, used to come on the radio. Okay, on WLIB AM radio. I think it's 1190 is the number on the radio dial. when they would have it, because they used to air it in the Apollo Theater. So you had professors that would come down. When I say professor, I'm going to start naming them. You had a man named Leonard Jeffries. I'm going to talk about him next week. You had James Smalls. You had Edward Scobie. That's the one I'm about to bring on now. Edward Scobie. You had John Henrik Clark. These were brothers that was in the community. They was in this African-centric thing, but they would bring out information whatever they got. They didn't know the scriptures, so I'm going to say that off the bat. But this brother, Edward Scobie, he's from I think he's Benjamin. I know that much. And he was at the radio station, live at the Apollo, on the microphones, going into the history. And he was getting so good. I'm going to play it. He was getting so good. And then he was talking about how Haiti, he said that this general named Rockenbaugh came in and he wanted to turn the island back into slavery. And when he came there, he started doing all kinds of horrible Holocaust stuff to the people. We're going to play it. And it was getting so heavy. Because then he started talking about Northern Kingdom. When it got into Northern Kingdom, somebody said, wait a minute. He's putting the tribes together. And them bastards pulled the plug. You're going to hear them pull the plug on the transmitter. You're going to hear it just disappear from the radio. Then you're going to hear the host come back on and say, we were off the air. So there's proof. And because I had a habit of leaving the tape inside my recorders all the time, because I was on this thing like, listen, if some information come on, I'm going to get it. I was that type of guy. Brothers hear the tapes all over the place, so they know how I am. So I would have the recorders running, and that thing got on there. So I'm listening, and I saw my tuning meter. You know, you had the meter. I had a pretty decent stereo. So you have the meter that's letting you know the signal strength. The signal strength was there, but the sound was gone, and you just hear the sound of them pulling the plug. I'm going to play it for you. You no longer are in suspense. It's getting ready to drop right now, brothers and sisters.
Open your ears.
Open your ears. Like I said, this is Professor Scobie. He was going in on the horrors that happened during the time of Toussaint Louverture. He was bringing out the information about Dessalines the Ferocious, and then he talked about a whole lot of stuff. But I took a snippet of that tape and provided it into the studio so that you get a chance to hear it for the first time. Play it. I ain't gonna hold you up no longer. Hit him with it.
Caught you in midstream. Where you were talking about Toussaint and Dessalines, who was. Now we don't hear very much of Dessalines. Why is that?
We don't hear about Dessalines for the simple reason that he was an African through and through and through. He did not have any half measures about him because he had suffered tremendously as a slave. In fact, once someone asked him, why is it that you hate the whites so much? He leapt off his horse and ripped up his tunic and his shirt and everything, and showed his back and his front, crisscrossed with scars, blows he had got. He said, the next time anyone asks me why I hate whites like that, I will shoot him the next time. And one thing about him is that he knew very well that he was facing an enemy. He knew that. He had followed in the path of one of the great Haitian leaders we don't hear about so much, is Boukman. Boukman, who is the originator. He said to himself, when Napoleon said that he was more afraid of the words of the slaves in Haiti than he was of swords. He said, because the words he was afraid of is when Boukman and Dessalines said, black this country is, and black it must become and remain. And there's only 3 words that they were interested in. They said it in Creole, but in English it was liberty or death.
Now this is live.
Any one of those, no other words. But we're going to make sure it will be liberty. And Dessalines fought with this kind. In fact, They talk about the horrors, the things that he committed against them.
Here we go.
It was a time of extremes. The French did some things to the Africans in Haiti that are unbelievable even today.
Listen to this Holocaust.
The kind of terrible things they did. In fact, some of their European historians even admit that when they, if any of you read the Rochambeau papers, they are translated in English. Rochambeau was the general who took over when their famous Napoleon's brother-in-law, General Leclerc, died, and he had been killed, most of his troops. They sent a man that was even worse than Leclerc, Rochambeau. Rochambeau said he was going to kill alive every single African general and soldier, and he's going to turn the island back into slavery. And Rochambeau began by taking an African woman who was pregnant, nailing her on the ground, nailing her, putting her hands to pickets on the ground, stretching her out, naked, rubbing blood on her pregnant stomach, and putting meat on the stomach, and letting loose a cage of hungry dogs. I don't have to. You boil with horror and with hatred even now when you hear. This was a regular thing. He said what he was going to do and what he began to do to everybody. Children, there was nobody who was exempt from that. Men, women, and children. The same kind of thing that the Spanish did during the time of Columbus. The same thing they did in Hispaniola that we talk about, the Spanish and all their horrors, how they killed off the Caribs and so on. They have a whole history of genocide. Rochambeau said to
Now you're going to hear it come back on. Now listen.
Yes. Would you like me to sing? I said, oh, by all means, why don't you do your best? Why don't you sing WNIB under lots of them in New York City and sitting.
We were off the air for just a minute. We are back on now, as you can hear. I'm sorry, Professor.
Yes. We also have, for instance,
did y'all hear that?
And,
now, okay, that's enough. Did y'all get that? So the brother, he forgot that he was on the radio. You know, you could get so into it, and he just said, "The hell with it." Boom! He just started going. They were like, somebody said, "Wait a minute, this man, they you know he on the radio." Bloop! They pulled the plug. I'm sitting there listening. I thought I was checking my radio. I said, "What the hell's going on here?" And I still see the signal is there. I'm saying, "What the hell?" I was frantic because I was like, "Man, this is getting good." Then it came back on, and the woman said, "This is WLIB. We were off the air temporarily, but as you can see, we're back on now." So that's the proof that somebody pulled the plug. Ain't that something? So they were worried. Now, what really did it, because that's letting you know that Amalek, the Edomites, even though, because the Apollo Theater, the Global Black Experience, all these are black people, but the signal can't go nowhere if white folks gonna, you dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got the tower.
They got the tower. They pulled the plug. It reminded me of that clip from, what was that movie that I played, that clip? Alternative 3, when they were talking about that astronaut, and they said that the signal disappeared while he was trying to tell them that he saw far more things out there than he was allowed to talk about. They will pull the plug, but this really went down. I sat in front of my radio, and this daggone thing happened. I was like, wow, that's something. But the reason why I want to bring that out is because what Scobie was doing, probably didn't even realize it. He was letting you know that the slave trade did not just start in the 1620s. That's what he's telling you. He's letting you know because he connected it with Columbus.
Right.
He connected it with the 1492. So he was hitting it. And so if that information would have gotten out, that would have united Northern and Southern Kingdom together right there. So they said, "No, hell no. Pull the plug." And the thing was gone. By the time they came back on, he was on a whole nother subject. The pause was longer than that. I shortened it because we'd have been sitting here for about a minute. It took a while for them to get it. He was still going, but we weren't hearing it. You dig what I'm saying? He was still rolling. So by the time he came back on, he was talking about something that he had calmed down a little bit.
Right.
But damn, ain't that something?
Yeah.
Wow. So,
I want to hear more.
Yeah. Well, actually, I got the You know, it's a whole tape he was going into the history. I just took a snippet of it just to give it to y'all. But he was going into a whole lot of stuff about that stuff there. And the brother was pretty on point. For those of you that might not know, when I say Edward Scobie, they're like, what the hell is Deacon talking about? There's a book entitled African Presence in Early Europe. Okay? We've used the book in the body. African Presence in Early Europe. He's the one that wrote that book, Edward Scobie. Okay, that's when you look the book up. Pull it up for a second, just so people will know. African Presence in Early Europe, and you'll see this is the guy that was on the radio going in. Just for people to know, African Presence in Early Europe. That's the name of the book. They changed the cover of it. Open it up. Let me see who it says as the scholar.
Put Scobie.
That's the one down there. That's the orange one. That's the one. That's the book. Show that to the people. People in the body seen this book before. I'm just throwing this out there just for the people. Okay, they say edited by Alvin Van Sertima, but Scobie's name is in the book. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. Not that it's really important.
$900 for that book.
Okay, say I ain't even know about the price, but that's the point. Some of us in the body has that book, and if you open that book up, you'll see that Scobie's name is in there. As one of the one of the co-authors or something. Anyway, this was the man that was speaking.
$900 for that book.
And it's a paperback book. Well, that one might be a hard book, but $900, you can't get over that, right?
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you know it got to be some valuable stuff in there for $900.
And some of us got this book. Some of us got this book. All right, so that's enough on that. Now, let me, because time is winding down. I want to give me Joy DeGroove's. No, you know what? Give me the article. Derby's dose. Somebody might know what I'm talking about. Some people might not know what I'm talking about. We're going to read this, and then I'm going to play Joy's video. Derby's dose. Did I send the article to y'all? I probably didn't. No, I didn't. Just look it up on Wikipedia, because it's there. It's the same article. Just give me a second, brothers. Just hang in there. Click that. Let me see what that says. All right, Derby's dose was it? Yeah, read that.
You can blow it up a little bit?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, blow it up.
Derby's dose. Derby's dose was a form of torture used in Jamaica to punish slaves who attempted to escape or committed other offenses like stealing food. According to Malcolm Gladwell, in his 2008 book, what is that?
Outliers.
The runaway would be beaten and salt pickled. Lime juice and bird pepper would be rubbed into his or her open wounds. Another slave would defecate into the mouth of the
miscreant. That's like they're calling him a criminal. The one that, because they used to say, you must be a sick Negro because you're trying to run away from us. So they used to try to indoctrinate us to make us think that we were actually sick, to not want to be up underneath so-called white man's torture. So they said. So that's what they call a miscreant. That's like somebody who's disobedient to their so-called laws. Read that again.
Another slave would defecate.
They would make another slave defecate, meaning move his bowels. Go ahead.
Into the mouth of the miscreant, who would then be gagged for 4 to 5 hours.
They would wrap his mouth so he couldn't spit it out for 4 to 5 hours. These people are filthy as hell. Go ahead.
The punishment was invented by Thomas Thistlewood, a slave overseer, and named for the slave Derby, who was made to undergo this punishment when he was caught eating young sugar cane stalks in the field on May 25th.
So all he wanted to do was just have some sugar cane. But you taken away from master's sugar cane. That's the reason why Tasha Harlins got shot in the head for a 10-cent apple. Because they ain't letting you take a dime, nothing. Go ahead.
However, historian Douglas Hall points out that Derby's dose was so called because it was often administered by one of his slaves called Derby.
Now, okay, so I'm going to stop there because time is running. I'm going to go through this a little deeper next week. But you can see the inhumane cruelty that our people went through. Just imagine that. Now, give me Joy Leary's. Give me the video with Joy Leary. Give me the video with Joy Leary. Okay, she talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome. And this is the reason why I was saying earlier in the class, I said, let's discuss the suffering and its compounding effects as witnessed today, as we see it today. The compounding effects meaning that we've never gotten over this. Oh, it's slavery. That was years ago. Get over it. You can't get over that because it has not been rectified yet. Nothing has. The only way we're going to get over it is in the kingdom. That's when we're going to get over it. Go ahead, hit it.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome is an explanatory theory that really looks at multi-generational trauma. One of the things that's difficult for people is their first response is, oh my God, that happened so long ago. We're talking about people being captured, shipped, sold, beaten, raped, experimented on, and then you have to ask the question, did the trauma...
Pause it. You notice she put the word sold up there, right? The reason why the bastard, the so-called white man, wanted to take the word sold out of the Bible and said that you shall offer yourselves to be sold, and no man shall save you, no man shall buy you. The reason why they wanted to take that word sold out, because if you leave the proper understanding of what it means to be sold, that's going to automatically link us to the Bible. So they said, let's change that and get that out of there so that the people have, like Psalm said, that the name of Israel may be no more in their remembrance. That's what that is. Go on.
Yes, so 300 years of trauma, no help, freed. No help, more trauma. If it's a sustained trauma, then the impact of that is also sustained. When we look at multi-generational trauma, we're looking at people who are maybe victims of natural disaster.
Stop. Multi-generational trauma. How many generations was in the so-called death camps of Auschwitz? Multi-generations. So this is talking about compounded trauma. My great-grandfathers, a level of trauma. Children coming out of that, not having any kind of beneficial history that would better him, is actually going to worsen it. And that's the reason why we have the problems that we have today, because these things have never been rectified. And the preachers, for crying out loud, got the Bible. They're supposed to be working to heal the people's minds. We're supposed to be giving them the therapy. And the people are coming to your church to get the therapy, and you ain't teaching them nothing. And that's the reason why they're leaving. That's the reason why they're leaving. That's the reason why they're looking now. And yes, we're going to teach them. The Lord, giving all praise to the Father, the Most High, and His Son, Jesus Christ, He gave us the ability to administer the proper medicine to heal our people from the damage that was done to them in slavery, and to tell our people to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand for you, brothers and sisters, for you so-called Hispanics, you so-called Native Americans, you so-called blacks that are scattered all over the planet Earth. You're the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, and Christ is coming back to save you. Go ahead with it.
And their families and their children and generations of folks who have experienced war. And we know that there are residual mental, emotional, traumatic impact. And what I did was I started to look at the African American experience, starting with slavery, as a real clear, long enduring trauma. So I started to see that there were clear connections between that survival behavior and contemporary living in African American experience. I started to see common behaviors that I took for granted as, well, cultural. There's adaptive behaviors, survival behaviors. Well, what are they? Let's just say 2019, you have a black mother and a white mother. The sons go to school together. They find themselves at a meeting. The black mother leans over to the white mother and says, I just wanted to mention to you that I noticed that your son is really doing quite well. And the white mother's response is, oh, thank you. She begins to go on and on about he won the science fair, his uncle's an astronaut. She's just oozing. She realizes the black mother's son is actually excelling her son. And she says, well, wait a minute. Your son's the one that's really coming along. And the black mother responds, oh my God, he's a handful, but oh, he just works my nerves. Now, when I'm working with African American people, it doesn't matter what the audience is. It doesn't matter what class. If I were to ask, is she very proud while she's saying those denigrating things? And everybody laughs and goes, of course. There's a secret. Because everybody black knows that even though the black mother is going, oh my God, she's really proud. So now let's roll that scene back 300 years. And let's say this black mother is working in the fields, and a white slave owner comes through and says, wow, that boy is really coming along. What is she gonna say? No, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He can't work because I don't want you to sell him. So I denigrate them to protect them. That is called appropriate adaptation when living in a hostile environment. The little white boy, say Timmy, he feels really comfortable and happy about what his mom just said about him. And Trey looks at his mom and wonders, why can't you be proud of me? Because he doesn't understand the secret yet. And by the time he learns the secret, he will have already been injured by it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Ain't that something? You can stop it there. We'll continue with that for next week. Give me the clip that I talked about. But you know what I want to do? I wanted to read something out of one of the books. I should have sent it. Well, you know what? Time is running out. Play the clip that I gave y'all because we want to talk about the damage that has been done. Like the sister said, when I introduced her, I said Joy Leary. Leary was her name because she was married to a man named Leary, both black men, and then she married into another brother whose name is DeGrew. But that's the same sister. Joy Leary and Joy DeGrew. That's the same sister. Okay, she wrote the book Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Very good book. Now, let's play this here. I want to show you the damage of what the sister was bringing out that has happened to us. And this is just recent. Click. Hit it.
Come here, young man. Say what you said again. Show us the devil and show us God. Which one is the devil? This one's the devil. Right? All right. Now what else?
That one is God.
Which one? This one. Point to the one that is God. Point to the one that's God. Show it. That's God. And this one is what? Say it louder.
The devil.
The black man is the devil. Sister, do you see a problem we dealing with? That's why we kill each other, gun each other down, primarily sell drugs to each other, and only hate each other. Because the young man is being taught this is wrong. The black man is wrong. That's hell no. He look ugly too. He looks strong and mean. Does he look mean to you?
So I want to give honor and thanks to the Most High. He has allowed IUIC Atlanta. They're working on this video. As you can see, it's going to come up. Actually, I took it off of Instagram. So IUIC Atlanta, they're going to be releasing that full clip. So I imagine it's going to be super bad. It's going to be on point. So I just needed to bring that part to y'all today. So I'll give shout outs to IUIC Atlanta for bringing that information to us, because that was a heavy scene, and we've been seeing scenes like that all over the country. In the Carolinas, New York, I've seen that same kind of damage that has been done because we as a people are still wounded. We are still spiritually wounded and still torn up and have not been fed. That's the dry bones again. That was what we just looked at as dry bones. How come T.D. Jakes didn't deal with that? This man actually said that the white man is God, and the actual description of Christ in the Bible, he called that the devil. And there's no Bible anywhere that tells you that Christ looked like that. But after you get through reading some NIV and you got a preacher like T.D. Jakes and the rest of these guys, you will come out of that cemetery called church, and you'll be talking the same way. So you can see the damage is super real. We got some real problems that we got to resolve through the power of the Most High in this Bible. So I'm gonna let the brothers carry it out, but I just want to say that we give thanks and honor to the Father that for allowing us to bring this Bible to our people, because the Bible is the solution to our people's problems. Officer Eli, Officer Yekiel, Officer Nahshon, what y'all got for me?
Get Jeremiah 50:6. Also, because going back to T.D. Jakes again, he's not guiding our people the way they need to be guided. Mm-hmm. He's not showing our people who they are according to the Bible. He's not educating our people who they are, what they must do. Give me that. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 6.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 6.
Read.
My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
So the pastors of today have caused our people to go astray. Read on.
They have turned them away on the mountains.
So that's basically saying our people, they might have went to the Most High God. They might have kept God's laws, But read that part again.
They have turned them away.
So instead of them bringing them to God, Jeremiah said they might have went to God, but the pastor turned them away. Why? Because they sit up by their oppressors. Read on.
They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill.
So from land to land. Read on.
They've gone down. They went from mountain. Mountain is supposed to be. They done gone further into the destruction.
Read on.
Go ahead.
They have forgotten their resting place.
So they don't even know they're the Israelites.
Right.
They don't know that they must keep God's law. They don't know they are a special people. That's all I got. Yes, Eli.
Oh, no, I mean, I thought that was excellent. I think we must understand, too, Deke, is that when you deal with trauma, especially I worked in that field for a long time, those injuries have to be retreated.
Right.
Because even when you're dealing with physical trauma, okay, and you have an injury, other things come into play once you injure something.
Right.
Other systems take place.
Exactly.
So now you have to rewire that whole system.
Exactly.
And that's why we got to rewire them with the Bible.
Right.
Because of the spiritual trauma that we have taken on all of these years, we have to rewire ourselves to what the Bible really says. And the pastors are doing what they were trained to do even in slavery when you think about Nat Turner.
Exactly.
They're doing like the Tuskegee experiment that we watched the other day. They got the poison at the church.
Right, at the church.
They used the church to bring them in.
Because they know our people are looking for salvation in there, and then they end up getting poisoned.
And they look comfortable. They're comfortable. They said, we got to use the church to do it. That's all.
You know what? It's amazing. You mentioned about injury. It was something that I heard Malcolm say. Malcolm said that, he was talking about injuries, because we're talking about the injury that happened with us. He said, if you take a knife and you stab it in my back and stab it 6 inches, there's no progress. He said, if you pull the knife out 3 inches, there's still no progress. If you pull the knife out completely, there's still no progress because you have to heal the blow that the knife made. He said, America hasn't even begun to pull the knife out. They won't even admit that the knife is there. They want us to think, that's what Malcolm has said. They won't even admit that the knife is there. Like they didn't do anything to us. Like we're not even injured. Don't even talk about the Holocaust, the real Holocaust. Don't even talk about it. They don't even want us to acknowledge it.
They don't even teach it anymore.
They don't even teach it anymore, trying to take the slavery out of the school.
Right.
Go ahead, let's close it out. By the way, part 2 will be next week. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, all praise to the Most High.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.